When it comes to key machines and problems and issues that arise, it really kind of got me thinking. I'm like, what is it like on the other end, on the manufacturing end? And what types of issues are manufacturers dealing with people calling in having problems? So I reached out to Ilco and I was able to get Billy from the Ilco tech support and Tony from AD Ilco sales to come on and have a conversation with. Now, what is being talked about actually is really universal. So don't just let the, I don't have an Ilco machine kind of get in the way of listening to this great conversation. I hope you enjoy. All right, Billy, I'm really excited to talk to you about some of the issues and phone calls that you get to kind of really give us an inside perspective on what's going on, So I really want to start with the Futura machines and what are the phone calls that you're getting in regards to help with those?
Well, typically we're getting phone calls regarding the edge cut side of the machine, not particularly the high security laser side, because it's a little bit more strategic when it comes to edge cutting keys with the Futura Auto. The Futura Auto has a rotating jaw that has A, B, C, or D, and typically anything automotive, you want to really reference clamp side C or D. Clamp side C has a raised groove on the bottom to allow you to actually slide the center line of the key onto that raised groove to allow perfect positioning. Clamp side D actually has that same raised groove at the top. Now, for example, clamp side C you would use on like your H92s, your H75s, any key pretty much with a center line, you're going to use clamp side C. Clamp side D will be for your off-center keys like Toyota TR47s, NIO2 Nissans, Subaru keys, things of that nature. So if that line of the key is not exactly in the center of the key, then you would use D. If that line is directly up the center of the key, you're going to use clamp side C. Now, as far as all your shoulder keys, like your HD 105s, HD 106 Honda Blanks, or the Mazda, the MAZ 24s, those are going to be referenced by the actual shoulder. And you can just typically use clamp side A for that.
Billy, that's some really great information. So is what I'm hearing you really say is that one of the biggest, the phone calls you're getting a lot of is just people not realizing that you're going to use the Futura edge style jaw the same way that you would use like your manual key duplicator, where just because it comes set on jaw A doesn't mean that you have to always keep it there, right? You have to rotate it around and find the right
absolutely
jaw that fits. And that's some great information on the C and the D jaws as well.
Right. Now with your duplicators, typically you're using duplicators for, residential house keys, file cabinet keys, things of that nature. So of course, clamp side A is just fine because 90% of those keys have actual shoulders. So you can just use your flip up shoulder gauge for that. Typically anything automotive is going to be referenced by the tip. So you have to tip stop those keys. So whether it's tip stop 2, tip stop 3, you just want those keys to be in the best position possible so that you can get the best results possible, because no one's in the industry to lose money on key blanks.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when it comes to the tip stops, I've found myself not being able to find them before, it's like, or maybe they're further away than I want to go. So I'm like, what else can I use? And I'm curious, have you ever found yourself using something besides the actual tip stop?
Absolutely not. I will grab a tip stop tool from another machine before I use a paper clip or coins or anything like that. Because I just want the best results possible. That's the only reason. And I do not recommend using anything other than a tip stop.
Yep. Okay. So the official recommendation is to just use the tip stop. Don't get crazy and start using other things that now. And I'm guilty though, Billy. I have to tell you, I'm guilty of using other things. Okay, but
it happens, and I understand. But we do have parts breakdowns. If you're ever in need of a tip stop, You can give us a call. We'll get you the part number and, have the customer get with you guys on, ordering them one or, pricing and availability and things of that nature.
Absolutely. Yeah. We actually stock a ton of them. So
beautiful.
Yeah. It's good. So now when it comes to just your normal duplicators, do you find like the calls you're getting are similar about people not understanding the jaw sides?
Yeah, it's like you said, the machines come standard on clamp side A. So to a new user, realistically, they're just going to put 2 blank keys in or put a blank key in and just try to copy that key, not knowing why there is a B, C, or D clamp. So typically for anything residential or house key related or things of that nature, you're gonna use clamp side A. Clamp side B would be for your deeper keys. If you have a really deep, Schlage lock system, you will want to use B or Sargent. C is for, just like on the Futura, your automotive. So the center line will go on C as well, and D.
Yeah, for a B106.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, okay.
And then D would be like your NIO2 Nissan, the off-center key.
That's great. That's good info. So, that's really good. And, at the end of the day, Bill, I'm sure as you have seen is we all have to start somewhere, right? And sometimes
Absolutely.
When you get a new machine, and there's been so many times that like I'll get something new and I don't take the time to really think through it per se. The next thing you know, I'm calling someone or I'm messing something up and they're like, hey, it's actually pretty simple. You just have to, kind of go through the process a little bit. And I hear you kind of saying that when it comes to the jaws.
Absolutely. The main thing is just making sure that the customer is aware that we're just here to provide, information. Like we want to help you out the best way that we can. So no question is stupid to us at all. Because I also understand that no one wants to be held responsible for destroying a key machine. So
yeah.
If a customer wants to call us before they even remove it out of the box, we are completely fine with that.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. I mean, in my opinion, that's a great way to handle customer support. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Now, when it comes to the high security, okay, and I'm talking about just all your electronic machines, because I think this is just like a universal kind of truth here, which is Honda high security keys are kind of like the standard, right? They're a key that if your machine is not on, you're going to have problems.
Absolutely correct. Honda locks have no give.
What's that?
Honda locks have no give whatsoever.
They have no give and they wear quickly, right? And so it provides this awkward thing. And I'm curious, do you get many phone calls for that?
We don't. Typically, it's more of a how-to instead of a, hey, I got a problem. And with our electronic key machines, we try to walk through storing favorites, because these machines are really card cutting machines. And what we mean by card is the actual profile of the actual lock system. So the Honda lock system is actually specific to card number 2354. And that gives you the entire line of key codes for those specific Honda models. As far as like duplicating the keys, you typically want to stay away from, I'm going to say, second and third generation of duplication. So if you have an original key and then you copy that one, and then you copy the copy of that key, you may experience a problem because it's a third generation key. And Honda locks are very, very, very strict.
Yeah, they are. I mean, do you have any recommendations? Like sometimes when you go to put a key in, right, you put your finger on the top of it and you start clamping it down, and it's so worn out and the webbing is so fragile that it pops.
I haven't experienced that one.
Okay,
I have not experienced that
That's
one.
Good.
Typically, what we do recommend is if you're going to copy a Honda key, whether it's electronic or manual, using a twister or a Futura, we always recommend taking a little wire brush and actually brushing the actual key itself to make sure that the contact points are true.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Well, Billy, I have one last question for you, and I really appreciate you hanging out with me here for a few and letting me pick your brain a little bit. And that is the Flash Mobile, right? It's a new machine. Like the Flash isn't new, but the mobile part, the battery part is. And I'm really curious. Are you getting a lot of phone calls on that? And if so, like what's the number one phone call?
Absolutely. Our number one phone call is, hey, I got this machine fresh out of the box and it's not working. And we immediately ask them, is the battery plugged in? And they say, absolutely not. So they cannot be shipped with the battery plugged in, due to the airline regulations. So,
okay. So it's a regulation to keep that unplugged. Yeah. And the truth is, I actually have done that myself when I got the Flash. I guess that's not the mobile sitting up there anymore. But when I got the Flash Mobile, charge it up, I'm all pumped up, and then I go to I unplug it, right? Because I want to make sure I get the actual battery charge, and there's no battery charge. And it took me a minute to actually read the instructions to be like, oh, hey, you need to connect that, right?
It's something very simple to overlook, because the last thing you expect to go through is a machine not working, and the last thing you're going to think it is the battery simply unplugged.
Absolutely.
Because it will work if it's plugged into the wall. But the moment you unplug it from the wall, nothing happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great, Billy. I really appreciate you taking the time, hanging out, and getting to hear kind of the insider scoop of what you deal with on a day-to-day basis. So thank you.
It's most definitely a fun job.
Tony.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you very much, PJ. We've done a number of these podcasts. We look to do more as the opportunity comes up. My role in Advanced Diagnostics, Ilco, is pretty much the same as it's been over the years. I am in charge of the mobile vans that tour the country, and some of the equipment that was talked about or will be talked about today is on the vans for upfront personal demonstration and more fact finding. So we're very excited to have the vans out running and in your neighborhood soon. So I wanted to give a shout out for that, and then just again the challenges obviously with COVID and everything, and just getting out there in front of customers is really a main driving point for me in this year, and getting fighting to get back to some normal support out there for distributors, for end users alike. So I'm very excited for what lies ahead, and again for the opportunity to do this podcast, and for a guy like Billy to take some time and answer some questions and explain some things from his side of his position in the service chain.
Absolutely, Tony. And I know you do a lot with the vans, and I'm kind of curious, like how many miles do you think you drive a year in one of those?
It's not too bad. I think we get about 35. It's just under 40,000 miles that we see, because we, with the 2 months, basically December and January, we don't see a lot of activity. We use that for maintenance and change out. We changed out some new equipment. We put some new equipment on the van, so we get a chance to reorganize it. The Western one is ready to go. In fact, I move it tomorrow. So it'll be headed towards Southern California, or actually Arizona, and then on to Texas. So I'm very excited. It gives me a chance to organize it. I think it's been the best I've had it since I've had the van, actually. So I'm very excited about this year, and hopefully we'll put many more miles on it. I think we will, because I think this year we'll be able to get them into Canada. We've for 2 years now, we've been kind of subject to just the lower the United States, and moving around the territories of East and West. So we should be able to do more miles this year than we have in the past two.
Very cool. Well, yeah, Tony, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out. I appreciate it.
Thank you, PJ. Awesome job. And, go see CLK.
Yeah, thank you. Billy, Tony, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me for a little bit. And for all of you who are watching, I would love to know what little tidbits or nuggets that you picked up and learned during this episode. I'll be looking for them in the comments below, and make sure you include the hashtag Lockboss to automatically get entered in to win one of 5 free prizes we give away each week here on YouTube. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hey everyone, PJ here. I am really excited to kind of give you more of like a no. Billy from tech support and Tony from sales. You've seen Tony before. And have a no. So I was able to read. So I reached out to and I'm just really excited to have a conversation. No, I'm not. I need to start over. And what type of problems people are calling in with. So we're gonna have a great So I really hope you, no, man, too much, too choppy. So I reached out to Ilco and I was like, excited to have a conversation.